Welcome to Healed and Healing. I'm your host, Maria Roney, intuitive healing guide and teacher, and I have created this podcast for you, you amazing, brave human willing to heal and rediscover your authentic self so that you can be free from past pain, trauma, heartbreak, and conditioning so that you can experience true freedom in a joy-filled, abundant life. My own journey taught me that when we choose to heal from the past, we find our confidence, self-trust, intuition, and so much more. And then we embody who we are at soul level, so we are free to shine our light unapologetically and have the freedom and joy beyond our wildest dreams. So come along on this unique, non-traditional path of healing and self-discovery that is both mystical and grounded in the reality of our human experience. And I'm here to tell you, if I can do it, so can you. So let's begin. Hello, brave, amazing human. Thanks for being with me for episode 5. And today is all about practice equals magic. And if you've listened to some of my other podcasts, you'll know I always talk about practice. We just keep practicing in this human life. So anyway, I went to this beautiful blues music night, and there was this amazing musician. His name is 8-Ball Aitken. Look him up if you're interested, if you love the blues, and I love the blues. I love blues music so much. It's so soulful. And he said, he is an amazing guitarist, by the way. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And he said something that really resonated with me, and that is the difference between a good guitarist and a great guitarist is 3 hours practice a day. And of course, right, when you want to, come to mastery at something that you really love and are good at, it's about practice. And it really resonated with me with our community, about being on a healed and healing journey, right? Like that is, that we're healed and perfect, and we heal from our trauma, and we like our conditioning and all of the things that interfere with us being our free, sovereign human beings, and continuing on the healing journey, because we crack open into our intuition and our soul gifts, and life just becomes more joyful and freeing, right? So like I talk about practice a lot, and there are 2 ways about practice that I'd like to share with you today. And the first one is consistent practices, like the doing, right? The practicing of what is good for us. And the second one is about, practicing our humanness with self-compassion. So I'm going to go into each of these 2 points in more detail now. And the first one is like that, the devotional practice. So, on my healing journey, I threw myself into my healing journey, and I've had lots and lots and lots of different practices that have changed and grown and evolved along the way. But there is one thing that is just so important, and it is that regular practice of whatever it is you choose. Body, mind, soul, a combination of all. And these practices can be anything from daily meditation. And I know that when I was growing in my intuition on my healing journey, I actually hope there would be a shortcut, like to developing intuition. It turns out all of the teachers say that it is, meditation is like such an amazing tool to growing your intuition, if that's what you want to do. Sacred practice could be journaling, or you could have a gratitude practice. Or you could have, if you're wanting to shift your mindset from having harsher thoughts to kinder thoughts, then like noticing your thoughts would be a practice, and maybe having a journal or diarizing those. Whatever your practice is, and it depends on what your goal is, right? Like, if you want to be a good guitarist and that's your goal, to be a good guitarist, and you practice. If you want to evolve as a human and become more conscious and more connected within, then it's these sacred practices. And if we want to have a holistic practice, body, mind, and energy, then it might be whatever our body needs in terms of movement, going to the gym. Somatic practice might be like going on long walks, which is what I'm really enjoying, or yoga, whatever your body is calling you to do, to practice. And so there are just so many, and we can actually get, on this journey, if you're like me, you can actually get really distracted by all of the practices. There are so many. And what I advocate for is being consistent with one. Just choose one. Choose whatever resonates with you, and just practice it on a daily basis, preferably. And then when we practice something and we start to integrate it into our being, it just becomes like brushing our teeth, because you don't have to convince yourself to brush your teeth every day. You don't have to get up the energy. I'm going to brush my teeth. I'll brush my teeth in 5 minutes. I'll brush my teeth later, and that's something I'll check off my list. No, you just brush your teeth. And so that's how a daily meditation practice becomes, or that's how a journaling practice becomes. It just becomes like part of your being. And when we practice, over and over, even when we make mistakes, and that's how, our new ways of being become integrated. They just become who we are. And so, and look, I'm really good at practice. I have devoted myself to practicing, having time with my soul, and I have a whole list of things that I do on a daily basis to connect with myself and to grow. And it's really interesting, because this leads me to the second part of practice is, I got this tough love message in a client session. It was a tough love message for me in a client session. And that was that all of the sacred practices, that I can sometimes check them off a list. And so when my goal is to be present and connect with self, I'm almost in the energy of doing this and doing that next. And it's actually takes me away from the feminine energy that I embody, and it takes me away from that being when I do my sacred practices. Does that make sense? And so then the second part of the practice that I wanted to talk to you about is like when we practice our humanness with self-compassion. And so for me, when I received that tough love today, and I realized that like I'm putting pressure on myself to do or to experience different things in life on my growth journey, on my healing journey, it was just like a big aha moment of like, oh wow, okay. I teach and advocate for being really gentle on your journey and having that self-compassion, and yet here I am checking things off and putting pressure on myself to feel a certain way or experience something a certain way. And so it brings me back to like practicing that self-compassion. And I just remind myself, it's almost like a big exhale, like that totally releases that pressure valve of like, that's right. I am on this human journey, this extraordinary human journey, and like I've just got to practice being gentle on myself again. And so when we can actually, be with ourselves with self-compassion on this healed and healing journey, we can just be with ourselves, and like when we're inconsistent or when we stuff up or when our shadow appears and we snap at someone, we can reflect and go, oh, okay, like, is that who I am? Is that how I want to show up for myself? No, but look, that's okay. I forgive myself because I'm practicing. And so we'll just practice. I'll practice non-judgment, or practice kindness, or practice being gentle with myself. Because it is a wildly brave experience that we're all having here on planet Earth together. So, and when we can practice being compassionate with ourselves, we can practice being gentle and forgiving and compassionate towards others. Because wherever we practice within, it reflects outwards in our environment. And so what you'll find is that when the more gentle and kinder you are with yourself, the more you are with others, and the more that others are with you as well. And I'm not saying that doing all of this practice takes away from the challenges that come up in life, because this is the whole reason for self-compassion, is that the challenges don't disappear. Even when you keep becoming more love and more conscious and more intuitive and more healed and more healing, like we're still invited to have all of these experiences, and all of them are easy. And so we practice. So this is my invitation to you, is to, how can you practice more? Like, how can you, what tool or practice or way of being are you actually doing in your life that supports where you want to go, right? What is it? What are you doing? Are you doing meditation? Are you doing moving your body every day? Like, are you doing a gratitude practice so powerful? Whatever it is that makes you feel good and supports your evolution, right? So practice. And just with consistency and devotion and love towards self. And I say to all of my clients, you come and have a session with me and like we shift time and space and they leave feeling like lighter and have received guidance and magic has happened, right? But you know what? Then it's like when we're in a session, we're like stirring the cake batter, we're putting all the ingredients in, like we're just mixing it up really beautifully. But when my clients walk out the door into the real world, that's when they practice how they show up in life, and that's when you're putting like the cake into the oven to bake, because that's where the real magic happens in the real world. It happens in your day-to-day life, how you respond to things. That's where the evidence is of your practice. So I invite you to ask how you can be compassionate towards yourself on your journey and really embody that imperfect perfectness. And please let me know what you're doing and what's resonated with you. And speaking of practice, accountability and support are two things that have really, really helped me on my journey. And if you would like some support on your journey, I invite you to connect with me, to message me, to have a one-on-one session with me. And I am about to introduce my program called Intuitive Goddess, and it is all about activating soul gifts and learning about energy and growing your intuition and self-trust. And this is for women who are already on a healing journey, who are already aware of their intuitive selves, even if they've pushed it down for years and years. Like one of my beautiful clients recently said, I just reminded her how psychic she is, and she said, yeah, I always knew I was psychic when I was little, and it got pushed down. Same with me. I used to be able to see auras when I was little, and then I pushed it down until we remember again. So this program is for you. Please message me. I am taking expressions of interest for this program, and we can have a chat and I can tell you more about it. So for now, sending you lots and lots of love, and I'm wishing you so much magic in your practice. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Healed and Healing podcast. And thank you for being on your own healing journey, because the more of us who choose to heal, the more that we shine our light to this whole world. And your support means so much to me, and means, being on your own healing journey just means so much to you. I'm proud of you, and what we do together on this healing journey is so good for everyone around us as well. Never underestimate that. So please subscribe, give me a review, give me some stars, and I just can't wait to see you on our very next episode in this beautiful community. Lots of love.